The next thing we're going to do is going to go to View, File, New. Let's go with a width of 10 inches. Make sure this is on inches. Let's go with a height of 5 inches. Resolution can be at 300. RGB color, it's fine. And hit Create. The first thing we're going to do is please go ahead and select your typing tool. This is it right here. Horizontal typing tool. We're going to go ahead and select it. Once you click on it, you can still move it around. But if you get too far, you're not going to have that ability to move it around anymore. While it's selected, you can also put your name in there. All right. So now I want to make this larger. So if you want to make it larger as well, go ahead and highlight it. And let's go ahead and put it to the highest setting. Again, we can, if we navigate a bit away from it, we can click on it and move it. I still want it a little bigger, so I'm going to put my own numbers in here, 150, hit enter. I see that's just about right. I might have to change it later. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do here, I'm just going to play with my type. I'm going to make this smaller. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start messing with my character panel. Here's my character panel. If you if you don't have a character panel, go to Windows and then click on Character. If it's already checked off, it means that it's somewhere there, but we're just probably missing it. Okay, so we're going to work from the top down. We're going to look at all of these and what they mean, because we're going to go ahead and we're going to have to answer these questions at the bottom. You have to define them, like what is tracking, what is kerning, and we'll get there. Again, to make it fun, I always like to start with our name. Let's go ahead and put something in there that we kind of identify with, something that represents us. This looks cool. All right, so I'm gonna leave it there. Hit enter. All right, so we're working from the top down. The next one is let's go ahead and create a logo. And the logo that I want to create is a typographic logo, or sometimes it's called a logo type. That usually means that one or two letters is going to be a lot larger. So I'm going to go ahead and select these two, and I'm going to increase this one here. And if I don't want to input numbers like 200, enter, what I can actually do is select it and scroll with my mouse. I can scroll up. All right, so now that I've made this larger, I see a couple of things that I can start working with. For example, the kerning. If you hover over the second one in your character box, you're going to see that this is called kerning. The way this works is you basically just click between two characters and then you adjust it. Pretty simple. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. Don't forget to hit the check mark over here at the top every time that you are done with an edit. All right, I'm gonna keep going down the line. I'm gonna go with this one. This one uh, is a vertical scale. So what it does is it takes your type, highlight it, and you can either squeeze it or you can elongate it. Hold shift down to make this effect happen a lot faster. I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna do something like that just so I can use it. The next one is a baseline shift. You have to highlight it as well. You can highlight one letter or you can highlight multiple letters. So for example, the R, I'm gonna make it go up, all the way up, kind of like an exponent type of deal. Enter. If you don't know if that is straight, you can always get a uh, a ruler. If you can go Windows and you can go to rulers. Or you can hit Control R if you can't find it. Control R. Hold Control and press R is to take out the rulers. If you press on your ruler, you can take out a guide, and that'll let you know if you're straight or not. If the line is straight. All right, so let's keep it going here. The next thing I want to do is I want to take this type and move it up along with everything else. So I'm gonna go down to the baseline shift. I'm gonna move this up. Maybe just gonna align it here. I just kind of want to mess with it. Just kind of want to mess with it. Um, I see that I like the size of this, but it's too close to the edge, so I'm gonna decrease the size here using the kerning again. What's that? Here we go. So after each time you move something, make sure you press that uh check mark at the top. Right here, we're gonna be moving to the left. Sorry, what's this one here? Whoa, right here. Yeah, there'll be a space. There'll be a time where like won't want to move any further. Go. Let's try to move this one a little further. Something like that. There you go. That looks looking nice. I'm gonna get these two together. Something like that. Mr. Salazar. Nah, that looks cool. I like the way these two come together. And I like the way this fits in there nice and snug. And now it's time for tracking. So this one is for when you have a paragraph, it'll make the lines get closer together. However, this one's a tracking. It's an overall adjustment between all the single between between everything that's highlighted basically. So if it's all highlighted, I can take my tracking and it's an overall shift right there. So now that I have my cool little logo, I'm done with the first part. Uh, so if we look at our Google Slides, if we look at the instructions, so here's 34B. It says use character panel, use layer style effects, and then use text wrap. So you have to use all these. We're done with the first one. Now let's use this layer styles and effects. You're gonna go ahead and find that in the layers at the very bottom where you see FX. Okay. So at the bottom here, you're gonna click and you're gonna go first with a bevel. Now, don't just go through this clicking the check mark. You also have to click on the tab so that you can get the settings for it. So I have a couple of presets here already done. So I'm just gonna kind of like mess with them a little bit. We got one, two. That's texture. You want to add some texture. Don't forget to scale it to give it a cool effect. Here's a stroke. On the stroke, make sure it's on the outside, not the inside, because then it starts looking a little bit bad to your image. If you're gonna add another stroke, that's fine. Just make sure you change the color and increase the size. You have to increase the size because it's not, if not, you're not gonna see it behind the first stroke. The inner shadow will work as long as you have a gradient or something or like a color overlay. For example, let me put a color overlay of white and then now I can put the inner shadow. Now the inner shadow will work. See that? It's if you want that type of effect. Personally, at this moment, it doesn't feel right. So if you do overlay, you can only have one overlay or gradient because the overlay is going to cover the gradient. So if you want to change either of these, so for overlay, it's right here. This is your color picker. and pick whatever color. Okay. Notice if you pick the gradient, you won't be able to see it unless you take the color overlay off for the first one. So now that I'm here, I can pick two colors on each side. The bottom controls the color, the top controls the opacity. So like the opacity is controlled here. You can see the original color from the back. But you can also double click here and pick a color. Double click here and also pick a color. There you go. Another thing you're able to do here is there's patterns. Right now it's on there's grass patterns, different things. But again, make sure you don't have overlay selected. Or if you do have overlay selected, make sure you change the blend mode so you can see through the color into the texture. Something like that. Again, not what I'm looking for right now. I think I'll just stick with the with this one here. You can also put a blend mode on its original color. You can get like you might be able to get a cool effect going. All right. So I'm gonna stay here, and don't forget about the pattern. You can do outer glow. Just make sure if it's a white on white, just to change it from white to a different color. If you still can't see it, then the problem is going to be the blend mode. Just make sure to put that on normal and increase the opacity so you'll be able to see it. Still can't see it, and that's because the next part has not been done, and that is the spread and the size. So if you want the size, it's right here. There you go. If you want the spread, it's right here. See you here. There you go, something like that. Um, yeah, and then there's more settings down here. Feel free to explore. Don't forget about the drop shadow. Don't forget that you need to expand it, right? And then that's basically it. The size of the spreader, don't spread it too much. The size is what controls the way it looks. You can grab it and move it around. That's pretty much it. But if you have any other questions, feel free to ask. So you have one more spot, and that is um, the text wrap. The text wrap is very simple. The text wrap, you're able to let's see here. If you click on your words with your typing tool, now these are still editable. You can still type. Put the big S. That looks cool. All right. I can still type on these, right? So what I'm gonna do is you see that little T on top of like a hill? That is called your text wrap. If you click on it, you'll be able to wrap your text. You have to click on it with your typing tool or it won't work. There you go. And there you go. I'm going to go ahead and save it. Before I do that, I noticed that mine didn't fit no more once I did the text wrap. So if you can, click on your move tool, right? This is your move tool up here. And go ahead and grab it from the corner and just kind of like make it smaller. And there we go. My name turned into a logo. File. Let's go ahead and save now, guys. File, save as, make it go to your computer. Again, as always, put a I would like for you guys to put a I would like for you all to put a folder in here inside of your desktop. So here is your desktop. And in here, just put a folder and save it in there. Don't forget to save it as a JPEG. Here it is. And then you hit save. Hit OK. And then from there, you can basically turn it into Google Class. Thank you guys. And that will be it. See here.